You did the thing. After all of it, the years of feeling off, the appointments, being told it was in your head, and you finally got on hormones. And there was hope, right? This was like going to be the answer, the thing that gave you back to yourself, and maybe a few things got a little bit better. But mostly, you still don't feel right. And now you're sitting here thinking, that was my last card. If hormones didn't fix it, what's next? What's left? If that's where you are, please stay with me because there is a reason, and it's not that you're out of options. And while you're at it, be sure to click the subscribe, like, and follow. First, let me take the scariest thoughts off the table. The one that whispers, maybe this is just me now, my body. Maybe this is as good as it gets. It is not. The fact that hormones didn't fully fix is not a dead end. It's actually a clue, a really important one. And almost nobody reads this clue correctly. It makes me crazy. And let me clear things up front, okay? Because I mean this. I am not here to tell you that hormones are bad or that you shouldn't be on them. For a lot of women, maybe it's genuinely part of the picture and they help. This is not an anti-hormone post. This is about why, for you, they didn't land the way that you were promised. Because that question has an answer, and the answer opens a door instead of actually closing one, okay? And I want to honor what it took just to get here, because most people, they breeze right past it. Getting on hormones probably wasn't simple for you. You probably spent years being told that you were fine. You had to advocate and push, maybe switch doctors, sit through appointments where you left feeling dismissed and a little humiliated for even asking. Getting that prescription was a fight that you won. So when it doesn't deliver the way that you were told it would, it isn't just disappointing, it's crushing in a specific way because you pinned so much on it. And that grief is real, and I won't rush past it. You were right to want more for yourself, and you're still right to want more. That wanting itself was never the problem. So let's think about why it didn't land, right? If hormones were the whole answer, you'd feel like yourself now, and you don't. So either the hormones are wrong or hormones were only ever part of the story, and something underneath them never got addressed. And in my experience with women that I sit with in my practice at South Bay Wellness, it is almost always the second one. There's a layer beneath the hormones that nobody looked at. Let me show you what it is. Imagine you've got a plant and that plant is beginning to wilt. And someone says, oh, it needs water. So you water it faithfully, perfectly, and it still wilts. Why? Because the plant is sitting in a dark closet. Water was never the thing missing. Light was. And no amount of water fixes a light problem. And hormones can sometimes be the water. Real, helpful, sometimes necessary. But if your body is stuck in this braced survival state, that's the dark closet. And hormones alone can't fix a safety problem. Your body has to feel safe before it can use what you're going to give it. And here's why that closet matters so much. When your body is braced, convinced it has to stay ready, it changes how it responds to everything, hormones included, okay? Hormones included. And that the parts of your cells that are supposed to catch those hormones and put them to work don't respond the same way when the body's in this emergency state. And it's like the messages are being sent, but your body's too busy. Like it's bracing. It's too busy to finally fully understand them. So you can have a textbook perfect, like numbers, your numbers on paper, your lab work and stuff, they can be textbook perfect, but they aren't the whole story. Whether or not your body can actually use the hormones, well, that's where the story is. And a body in survival isn't set up to use anything well. And that's not the hormones failing you, that's the closet. So this is the whole premise of the body-led method that I have created, because we ask what, not what do we add. We don't start with, oh, let's see what we add. No, what hormone, what supplement, what protocol. We ask whether or not the body is even in a state where it can use what we add. Because a body paying the survival tax, right? That's what I call running on borrowed energy in this emergency mode. So a body that is paying the survival tax will under respond to even the best input. So you might be doing the greatest things, but if your body's in this like survival first, very often the hormones, they're like, maybe things start working a little better, right? But the closet has to be turned on, right? The light in that closet has to be turned on in order for things to actually be giving you the benefit that they're supposed to. And here's the trap, because I watch women fall into it and it breaks my heart, okay? Hormones don't fully work. So the thinking goes, it must be the dose. Okay. So if the hormone's not fully working, you're like, oh my God, I must need more. So let's adjust it. Oh, still not right. Must need a different one. Try another one. Tweak, chase the numbers month after month, perfecting like the water that's going into the pot while the plant is still standing in the dark. Those leaves stay wilted. And so the woman starts to believe that her body is like uniquely stubborn, and that she's like the one exception, the one body that won't respond to anything no matter what. When the whole time what's really happening is nobody turned on the light. Okay. And I'll be honest with you about where the road ends if the light never gets turned on, because I mean, you'd want me to be honest with you, right? What I watch happen to women all the time is they slowly begin to surrender. So a woman may tweak things and adjust things for a year, maybe two, but nothing fully lands. And eventually she just stops. She decides this must be her new normal. She stops bringing it up at her doctor's appointments. She folds that disappointment in with all the other things that she's made peace with. And she goes on with her life, because getting on with it is what she does. And that's the part I can't understand. Not that the hormones didn't fully work. That's fixable. It's that a woman who fought so hard to be taken seriously would end up deciding that she was the exception, the one body that can't be helped. And you are not the exception to be helped. Nobody turned on the light yet. And that is the real issue. And this is a very different thing from being a lost cause. And I'll tell you, one of my clients, I'm going to call her Judith for now, because I want to protect her privacy. But she started on some hormone therapy, and she was really excited about starting on the hormone therapy. And she came to me and said, Dr. Z, I started this and it was supposed to really help me. My OBGYN said this was going to make the difference for me, and I still feel off. And when she actually changed the state underneath, when she actually began to regulate her nervous system, when she began to take some time for herself, when she began to focus on her breath, when she began to make small changes. And you guys, the clients in my practice, they are busy, successful type A women, and they don't have time to do a whole lot of stuff, right? They need to do what works. They need to be effective and efficient. So when she started to do those small things, it made a difference, because it literally changed her life. In fact, she had at some point stopped taking the hormones, and she came to this place where 3 months into her program, she's like, oh my God, I feel like a new woman. I can't believe that this is even possible for me. And without the added intervention, all we did was address what it was that her body needed. And that made the world a difference. So here's what I want to most have you walk away with today. Hormones not fixing it isn't the end of your options. It's a sign that there's a whole other layer underneath that no one has actually addressed yet. And that layer is completely workable. When you get your body out of survival mode, out of the dark closet, two things happen, right? The hormones you're already taking, they often start doing more than you hope that they would. And the parts that were never going to reach on their own, well, those start coming back online too. You're not out of cards. You've just been playing the one card that everyone handed you. And now you get to play the one that nobody's actually mentioned. So here's the first step, and it pairs with whatever you and your doctor decide about hormones themselves. It doesn't replace it. I made a free 21-day nervous system calibration. I send you 2 text messages every day for 3 weeks that start to get your body out of this brace state so that it can actually use what you were given. It's free. There's a link to it below. It's at go.thisisdrz.com/nervous system. And of course, if you know a woman who's like done the same things and started hormones and is like really disappointed, then send this to her as well. And of course, be sure to subscribe, like, and follow. This is Dr. Z.